All right, looks like we're live, folks. Yes, believe it or not, here we go. My first experimental live stream from the treadmill. Everyone, welcome to DevRunner. My name is Paul. I am an endurance runner. I am an RRCA certified running coach, and apparently a bit of a masochist too, because here I am on my treadmill in my house. It is snowing outside. I was going to hook up a third camera so that you guys could watch the snowfall, but it kept failing out on me when I added a third camera to the stream. So for now, we're just going to go with these two views of me suffering. I appreciate your time stopping by. Let me go back to the chat here so I can see comments as they come in. Hey, John the Vegan Runner. Thank you for joining me. About to jump on the treadmill myself, so we'll be running along with you for a while. That sounds awesome, John. John and Michael Sanderson, how's it going? Good afternoon, good evening to you. For me, it's mid-afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the U.S., and I'm going to get this underway. I've got 18 miles in front of me, and I am not going to be burning super fast today. I'm going to start off slow. The plan is I'm going to start off maybe a little bit slower than 8 miles per hour. Sorry, a little bit slower than 7.5 miles per hour. And like every 3 miles, I'm going to be bumping it up a little bit. And I'm hoping by the time I get close to the end, I'm traveling at about 7-minute mile range, somewhere in there. Wow, John, you've got huge snow out there. And I know you're out in Eastern Canada, so it doesn't surprise me. For me, it's been summer up until about last week, and then somebody flipped a switch. There's literally 9 inches of snow outside the window here. I don't know if it's really worth turning it. It'll be so distant you won't even get to see it very well. But at any rate, folks, I don't want to belabor this. I'm going to get on with the show here. So you know what my paces are going to look like. I'll be running it probably start off at around 7.3 miles per hour and be moving at about 8.4 by the time the end comes if I don't burn out for some reason. As far as my fuel goes, this is Tailwind. This is Gatorade. I will start off by emptying the Tailwind because I like getting the caffeine in there early and kind of working it through my system as I go. And then once I start getting desperate, I find that the sugar in the Gatorade starts kind of giving me a shot at staying moving well. Mark Davidson, hi Paul, 8 p.m. here in the UK. Thank you for joining me, Mark. Guys, anybody who's on board now, you may be the last of the people that I respond to directly here in the chat because for those who don't know, I'm 52 years old. My eyes are going, and the idea of kind of chugging along here and kind of leaning in this way, and so that I can see things with my terrible eyes, that might not happen. I will do my best. Last thing I'm going to say about fuel before I get underway here. Let me bring it in close to the camera. Cliff Gel strawberry flavor, my favorite gels. I've got 2 of them here. I'll probably pop one at about mile 8 or 9, somewhere in there, and I've got an extra one just in case I get desperate. With that said, the only other thing that's going to make this kind of crazy is just so I don't go completely, out of my mind with boredom staring at the wall, which is literally right here. I've got another phone right here where I'm going to try to stream music, some high energy music, everything from, AC/DC, The Doors, I don't know, Guns N' Roses. There's a lot of cool high energy stuff on here. I'm hoping that the sound of the fan in the background and the sound of the belt on the treadmill, once that gets rolling, kind of drowns out the music enough that I don't get hit with like a copyright infringement or something. If they pull me down off of YouTube in the middle of all this, we know why. All right, let me just get that going. Then we will start the belt and the fun will begin. Thank you, everybody who's already joined. I appreciate you stopping by and saying, hey, I love the community here on YouTube, and you guys are the best. So thank you. Here we go. Here comes the music. All right, folks. Feel free to pop in here and there. See how I'm doing. Hopefully this will be done in about 2 hours and 15 minutes, maybe 2 hours and 20 minutes, somewhere in there. Whew. Time for the fun to begin. And warm up. We are underway, folks. Hopefully the cameras don't die. This is mile 1. I'm currently traveling at 7.3 miles per hour. Yeah, guys, I can already tell that I'm not going to be able to see that. I'm going to have to work on something better for next time I do this. Every time I finish a quarter mile, I will shout out so that people have some idea where I'm at. Next time I try something like this, I'll try to hook up some kind of overhead cam so you guys can see my heads-up display here on the treadmill. All the things you realize are good ideas after the fact. All right, just warming up the legs now. That's a quarter mile gone now. Traveling 7.3 miles per hour. I don't know how many breaks I may have to take in the midst of this run for emergency pit stops or anything like that. If anybody ever tunes back in and sees nobody on the treadmill, that means one of two things. Quick run to the restroom, or I've flown off the back into the wall and I'm unconscious. So far, so good, though. My right hip has been giving me a little bit of an issue the last couple of days. It's very minor, but I am aware of it, so as I ramp up towards sort of my maximal weekly mileage, I'm trying to be very conscious of signals from my body that could lead to injury, etc., etc. This is the final run of what will be a 74 or 75 mile week for me. This will be the end of week 4 of this training block. I'm going to lower that music a little bit. I don't know if it's drowning me out on the camera, but Riders on the Storm is just cranked a little bit too loud right now. All right. Hopefully that improves things a little bit audio-wise. So week 1, when I started this sort of revenge marathon training block, I started this block while still sick. I did do two rapid COVID tests that week. They both came up negative, but whatever virus I did have just stuck with me for like 2 weeks. At any rate, I did run through the sickness in week 1 of my training block. I think that was like January, early January, obviously it started. And actually, no, it was back in December. And I ran 28 or 29 miles in week 1. In week 2, I bumped it up to 50 miles even. Last week, I ran, I believe it was 65 miles. And this week, if I finish this 18-miler with no issues, that'll be I believe, a 74-mile week. Okay, everybody who's watching, I'm at 2/3 of the first mile done. Still moving at 7.3 miles per hour. I can already tell there are going to be issues with me having to run to the restroom. Good stuff. High quality live entertainment for you here. The best part is I'm going to have to run all the way upstairs once it comes to it. All right, we're at 3/4 of a mile, 6 minutes and 18 seconds. Again, still traveling at 7.3 miles per hour. I hope the sound is decent. Which is to say, I hope you can hear my voice over the music and the treadmill. So for anybody who's tuning in or anybody who watches this after the fact, I'll lower the music some more. For anybody who's new to my channel, maybe doesn't know that I'm in the middle of this training block and what I'm after, the plan is to run the Tobacco Road Marathon on March 20th of 2022 and take a second shot at running a 2-hour and 45-minute marathon. This past summer and fall into winter, I trained for 18 weeks to do the same thing at the Kiowa Island Marathon on December 11th down in South Carolina, and the weather was horrible. It was 70 degrees, over 90% humidity, and I tanked that race completely. Made some mistakes with my fueling in the latter stages of the race, ended up with a seized up right hamstring, and I finished the race in 2 hours and 58 minutes. And, while that's still a good time, it's light years from what I intended. So we just passed 1 mile, folks, 8 minutes and 22 seconds. I'm going to bump up the speed to 7.4 miles per hour now. And so the Kiowa Island Marathon 5 weeks ago, or whatever it was, it did not go according to plan. So I took a week off of running. I think it turned into 9 days because I got sick. And now I'm just trying to ramp up to what I consider sort of my cruising altitude as far as weekly mileage goes. I'm going to try to be between 80 and 85 miles per week for the remainder of the training block, which is very short this time. I think I have 6 more weeks or 7 more weeks at the most of heavy-duty training before I go into just a 2-week taper. and hopefully Cary, North Carolina, and the Tobacco Wood Marathon will be nice and cold. I prefer running in about anywhere from 40 to 45 degrees weather. Dressed as I am, which is just shorts and a tank top, that to me is perfect attire for 45 degrees. So as you can see, in Kiowa, when it was 70 degrees and humid, not ideal. Okay, we're at 1.25 miles, moving at 7.4 miles per hour. It took 10 minutes and 19 seconds, I think, to get here. Everything's starting to loosen up really nice now. It's starting to feel good. And I don't know. We got some Zeppelin playing. Hopefully it's not loud enough to get me banned, because Zeppelin is rather infamous for being a copyright strike band, or at least their publishing company is they go crazy on YouTube. They try to tear down everything, which I don't know if you guys know who Rick Beato is. Rather massive music channel, or set of channels on YouTube. He's an amazing musician and teaches theory online. And he's constantly battling with the likes of Zeppelin, Guns N' Roses, because he tries to teach people theory using their music sometimes, or just critique their music, always positively. And the next thing you know, their lawyers have forced that video to come down. That's why I'm worried about this being too loud in my audio mix here. All right, folks, we're coming up fast in 1.5 miles here. And my worst fears are going to be realized. I'm going to have to make a quick pit stop and pause this already. Oh, brother, it's going to be one of those days. I wasn't careful enough with my diet yesterday to try to be race ready or long run ready. So bear with me. I'm going to take a quick run from the screen and come back. Sorry. All right, we're at 1.5 miles right now. All right, folks, I'm sharing all the ugliness as well as the, oh, it looks like this thing is turning itself off. Everything's going well. Huh. All right, so I was at exactly 1.5 miles. I was going to have to start from scratch as far as the proform is concerned. Good stuff. You know, if I was scared of you guys seeing the real truth of life as a runner with a treadmill, I would just turn off the live stream right now, but I want you to see how it goes. All right, so 16.5 miles left. Hopefully I can just settle into a rhythm now. All right. Hopefully I can get another few miles under my belt before that happens again. Michael Sanderson, John, You guys are doing good? I see the chat has gone a little bit dead, but that doesn't bother me because I don't want to disappoint anybody by having them say anything in there that I can't respond to simply because my eyes are horrible. However, everybody out there, if you're watching and you want to drop a comment or you've got a question for me regarding my running or your running, maybe I can help you out, just drop it in the chat. I'll be more than happy to get to you as soon as I'm out of the shower, and we can talk from there. If there's anything you see me doing incredibly wrong here, I would also appreciate some pointers there. I decided to turn itself off. I don't even know what the time was on that. So we are now 1 3/4 miles into this run, moving at 7.4 miles per hour. Another quarter mile, I'll bump it up to 7.5, which is exactly 8-minute miles. Stay there for a mile. Slowly start lowering ourselves down. So we're moving at a decent pace. So I'd love to know in the chat, for all of you watching, what is your favorite running music? Not the mellow stuff. I've got a huge catalog upstairs of CDs, and obviously everybody's got Amazon Music or Spotify, etc. Full of just nice mellow music and all that, but finding high energy sort of rock and roll is a little bit of a tougher task. You know, at my age, I kind of get stuck in the classic rock mode. You know, anything after the grunge period for me in the mid-90s. My knowledge of music is just kind of doesn't exist after that point. You know, I'm frozen in time, you know, with my dad rock. So if there are any great new bands out there, which I'm sure there are, just because they're not being promoted on radio or on iHeartMusic and all that stuff, seems like as far as commercial radio and broadcasting goes, it seems like the rock era is unfortunately somewhat dead. So trying to find some great rock, whether that be guitar-based, keyboard-based, whatever. Even electronica, I don't care. I don't turn my nose up at anything. We're at 2 miles now, folks. It's time to get up to 7.5 miles an hour. I need to get in a rhythm with good fueling, otherwise the last few miles of this run are going to look terrible. As far as my fueling strategy goes, folks, the way I like to race, the way I like to do all my long runs, and I run outside even, is I run with a pack. If I'm going more than 15 miles, which is a long run, of course, and I run with a pack and a bladder with a hose for my liquid intake. And for the past several years, it's been Tailwind, and I use the green tea buzz and the naked flavor, and I'll mix them so that I can get kind of balance out the amount of caffeine I want to take in as I go. And depending on how fast I have to run on any given day, but I always fuel every half mile. I take a sip, a 1 ounce sip. I know what that feels like in my mouth, so It's like 1 ounce sip every half mile. And I find that gives me a much more even energy level instead of spiking and diving throughout a run or a race. And that, for that same reason, that's why I love Tailwind so much, or any of the starch-based drinks, is because that starch hits your stomach, and unlike sugar, which just spikes your blood sugar immediately and it causes a dive afterwards, the starch-based drinks take a very short while in your stomach and in your intestines to convert from starch into sugars that can be leveraged by your body for energy. And the result of that is for me and for most of the people I know, that means even energy levels, like I said. And that's why I like to keep a nice steady stream coming when I'm racing or when I'm doing a long run where there's going to be a lot of speed demand. That's when I break out the quick gels. When I'm racing, it's one gel every 4 miles. One before the gun goes off, about 10 minutes before the gun goes off, I'll gel up. And these Cliff gels, strawberry flavor, come with 25 milligrams of caffeine in them, as well as 100 calories worth of like a maltodextrin, and fairly light mix of electrolytes as well. So that's an extra boost to my energy levels when I'm racing and running hard. Today I hope to use one gel when I'm halfway through, maybe, because I'm not really going to put very much demand on my body as far as the run goes. I hope everybody out there is doing well. I hope your running is going well. I hope you're staying consistent. We're at 2.5 miles now, folks. Moving again, 7.25 miles per hour, which means 8-minute miles. We'll stay here for 1 more mile and then we'll start picking it up a little bit every 3 miles from here. Maybe I'll put that in half every mile and a half. We'll bump up maybe a 10th of a mile per hour. Let's see how I feel. Anyway, I hope everybody out there is staying consistent with their training. The way to get better as a runner, of course, is just consistency. Nobody likes to hear that because they're always looking for a hack, a way that things can just go turn over quick, some way that 2 weeks later everybody can just be flying down the highway and impressing everybody. But, the best thing you can do for yourself as a runner is to lose that attitude as fast as you can and realize that, every 3 weeks or so, if you're being consistent, you'll have one run where everything clicks, where you just run faster, slightly faster than you've been running, and with less effort. And in the long game, folks, that's the sign you get that says you're moving in the right direction. And as the weeks and the months go by, compare yourself to where you're at now compared to where you were a full calendar year ago. And you'll be impressed with yourself. Pat yourself on the back because you'll be moving faster with less effort. Etc. The key to staying consistent for me personally, the way I think of it is inspiration and motivation are wonderful things to have. You watch some awesome video on YouTube about Elliot Kipchoge, gets you all fired up for 2 or 3 days. You're out there. Nobody can stop you from running. You can't wait to get out the door. You can't wait to lace up those shoes and put on some more miles. But, inspiration and motivation, well, they're wonderful to have when they're around. It's fleeting. It's overvalued. Consistency comes from discipline. And discipline is freedom. I don't feel like you're constantly trying to catch up on things. And the trick is just the way I do it, to the degree that I'm good at being disciplined, is if I'm just not feeling it that day, if I'm at work and I'm thinking, oh God, I gotta drive all the way up the highway. By the time I get home, it's gonna be dark outside. It's gonna be cold. I don't want to do it. But my trick is just to be like, well, it doesn't damn matter. If I want to do it, I'm gonna do it. And I could be sitting there walking up the stairs to my closet to grab my shoes, saying to myself, I don't want to do this. But I just keep going through the motions of what it takes to get out that door. And I'll have plenty of days where I just finished lacing up my shoes and I'm doing my little dynamic stretching before I get out the door. And I'm still telling myself, we're at 3 miles now, folks. I'm bumping it up to 7.6 miles per hour. I'm walking out the door and I'm still telling myself, I don't want to do this. But I tell myself, tough ass. Just get going. And I'll still be 3/4 into my first mile thinking, oh my God, not only that, not only do I not want to be here, but I feel bad. And I'm tired, my muscles are aching, and something's bothering me. Just keep going anyway. Because I promise you, by the time you get 1.5 miles in, you'll start feeling good. And you will thank yourself for the fact that you pushed through anyway. Discipline, consistency comes from just, you're allowed, the way I think of it is, you're allowed to feel those negative emotions. You're allowed to tell yourself. Don't try to hide away from the negativity of, I don't want to do this. As long as there's sort of an overriding voice that says, well, too damn bad, you're doing it anyway. There is no choice. That's where the consistency comes from for me. And mind you, I don't want to come out off as like this guy who talks plenty big, but acts like it's easy. Because while I am very consistent with my running, folks, for the past couple months, I've been really horrible about my consistency and my motivation, my consistency and my discipline regarding weightlifting and doing the bare minimum. I used to knock out weight training days, Monday, Wednesday, Friday for years. With that same disciplined attitude. For some reason, in the last 3 or 4 months, I'm working out with the weights once a week, and days varying, and I'm letting it go all over the place. And I'm beating myself up about that, but I think I deserve to be beating myself up about that. Gotta get back on the ball with that. Because the strength in my legs, that comes from the squats, that comes from the deadlifts, the calf raises, and the weighted lunges. When I'm not doing that regularly, I can feel the difference in my legs. I can feel the difference in my hips. As you saw today, at the beginning of this run, I was complaining there was a little bit of a twinge in my hip on the right side. I wouldn't have that twinge if I was stronger. At any rate, never going to be negative. I'm moving in a positive direction. I know everybody who's a runner is already a superior person for going out there and doing what they need to do to make their life better. And all of us, generally speaking, as runners, are a very, very positive group. Well, the negativity hits me just like everybody else. Going on YouTube and seeing this whole group of sort of virtual friends that are here always perks me up again. You know, I think, especially all of us with smaller channels, 3.5 miles now, folks, moving at 7.6 miles per hour. All of us with smaller YouTube running channels don't really realize sometimes, a lot of the time, the value that we really are bringing to other people's lives. You know, for me, it's all about those comments and stuff that comes in on the chat. But like I said earlier today, I probably will not be able to read until after the run because my eyes are bad. I can't see that far. So if you're doubting the value of your own channel at any point, please don't. I make the rounds every week and watch these videos, and they bring so much value to my life, so much inspiration and motivation. You know, you guys are very much the reason that I do remain consistent. I'm doing what I can, just like the rest of you, to make my running more than just about me. I want to inspire others. I think I'm waxing a little too philosophical. What can we talk about that's a little bit more practical? A little bit more strategic, perhaps. Well, first thing that comes to mind for me is the fact that I should have been more careful with my diet yesterday. This bathroom break number 2 is coming up right now. Here we go. Be right back, folks. 224, 225. So 375 in total so far done. All right, folks, I'm back. Back up to 7.6. All right, this time at least the treadmill hung on to my stats. So we're 3.75 miles into this run. Already had 2 bathroom breaks. Good stuff. I can't let that dissuade me from drinking the fielding, otherwise this thing's going to go belly up real quick. So folks, I'd love to hear from all of you about what your goal races are coming up. And what your training block looks like. I'd love to compare notes. I'm sure we can learn a lot from each other. If you want all the nitty-gritty details about my training in this particular training block, I invite you to watch my ongoing series called 245 Marathon Revenge. Episode 4 will be coming up in just a couple of days. And Basically, I'm on a seven-day repeating cycle over 12 weeks for this one. Mondays are always an easy day, coming off the long run on Sunday. Mondays will always be like 8-minute miles or far slower. Very often being in the mid to low 9-minute mile range. And I'll go a total of anywhere between 7 and 9 miles on Mondays. Tuesdays, very much the same thing, but with a good night's sleep on Tuesdays, what I generally find is the 8-9 miles that I do on Tuesdays, the pace always picks up a little bit. I will never let myself go faster than 8-minute miles, no matter how good I feel. And that's because on Wednesdays, I head to the track for workout Wednesdays. And going forward, my track days are a total of 11 or 12 miles with somewhere around 2.5 to 3 mile warm up. Then 5 or 6 miles of on time where I'm running repetitions with short intervals in between. Or just a little bit more. I have no idea how it's actually being picked up. So my Wednesday track workouts, I really like a ladder format because it gives me a chance to, like an example, my pretty much standard track workout will go something like a couple of 200-meter reps, followed by 2 400s, 2 800s, then 1600, maybe 2 1600s. And as I get deeper into my training block, it'll be a 1600 and a 200. And when I start really peaking right before my taper, the top of that ladder will look like one 1600, one 3200, and another 1600. And then the ladder back down continues with 2 more 800s, 2 more 400s. And I forego the 200s at the end. I use the 200s just kind of as a throwaway, warm up the legs, reminding myself of what it feels like to get those legs moving fast. Out of the 4 weeks that I've run in this training cycle so far, I've only been to the track twice now. I used the first 2 weeks just to kind of ramp up and didn't do a lot in the way of speed work beyond, running fartleks, running hills for strength, stuff like that. But ever since I've returned to the track in the last 2 weeks, my last 400 of the day has been slow because of pain, I hate to say. So far, with a good night's sleep, I've always come back on Thursday with a nice easy run, and by Friday I'm feeling 100% again. But I've got a feeling that if I kind of keep up that pattern where I'm feeling pain by the last couple 400s on track Wednesday, eventually I won't be feeling good. Later in the week, it will become sort of an injury, not just a little niggle. And something that I'm going to do to modify the way I run track now on Wednesdays comes from a recommendation that I believe came from Reese over at Go Kiwi, the Go Kiwi channel. I believe it was him, who told me rather than just starting each one of those repetitions from a dead stop, like a start line, where I'm just taking off as fast as I can from a dead stop, do a rolling start. Start about 10 yards behind the start line where you're actually going to click your watch to start the rep, and just kind of jog, pick up the pace, hit that start line. This way you've got less stress on your muscles, your ligaments, and joints. So every time I go to the track, I always think of that advice, and I haven't been heeding it. But I think the time has come to start doing that. So folks, I've been doing a lot of talking and not paying any attention to my form. I hope the side view here doesn't look too terrible. I talk about form, ideal form. You have a slight forward lean. That doesn't start at the hips, it starts at the ankles. You don't want to be leaning at your hips like that. You want to be in a straight line from your ankles all the way up to the top of your head. Some great advice that I picked up from chi running years ago is pretend you've got a hook in the top of your head, sticking out the top of your head, and you've got a hook sticking out the middle of your chest. There's a string attached to each one of those hooks. One is pulling you straight up so that you don't bend at the waist. You see yourself like a marionette hanging from a string. And then the one in your chest, think like a mile in the distance, there's a tall tower. And the other end of that string is being pulled from the top of that tall tower so that your chest out, chest forward, shoulders back and relaxed. The chin should be parallel to the bottom of your chin should be parallel to the ground. You should be looking a good way off into the distance, not down at your feet, because that promotes bending over, hunching over, and you can't even take as much oxygen into your lungs as you'd like to. You start shifting where your weight is. All kinds of things go wrong. You want your feet landing directly onto the center of your mass with ideal running form. And you're trying to minimize the amount of vertical oscillation. You don't want to be bouncing up and down. You want to minimize the up and down and let all of your energy go towards forward motion. Likewise, along the same lines, or to help with that, you want your arms bent at approximately 90-degree angles at the elbow, whatever feels comfortable. Some people tighten up more. Some people run with them a little bit lower. But the idea is your arms are pendulums. And they should be swinging directly forward and back, helping your forward motion. You never want your hands crossing over the midline of your body, because then you start twisting. And when you start twisting, you start putting extra pressure on your hips, on your back, on your knees, and all the ligaments that attach everything. And you end up with head syndrome, or you name it. And trust me, I've had it all. I'm not just up here in my ivory tower telling you how to do things perfect in theory. I've screwed myself up in every way that you could possibly screw yourself up. So I speak from experience. I started running about 10 years ago when I was 42 years old, and we're just past 5 miles, folks. One more mile, I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit. Where was I? Yeah, I started running about 10 years ago when I was 42 years old. Around the first year and a half, exclusively on an old treadmill that I used to have that I bought off of a friend used. And didn't do any cross training, didn't do any weight training at that time. And I guess I was gaining a certain amount of protection from the treadmill itself. Because that first year and a half, I didn't really injure myself. I got tired and worn out a lot. No real injuries. After that first year and a half, when I hit the roads, and I ran my first half marathon, which a half marathon was my first race ever. And I got the taste of racing. And I got bitten by the bug. I started pushing myself really hard in my training. And that's when the injury fest began. And I've busted up my ankles and blown out my knees, had IT band syndrome, hurt my back several times. Never got plantar fasciitis, but did end up with some kind of weird thing where the muscles were balling up right in front of the heel of my foot on the underside. The doctor told me it wasn't plantar fasciitis, it's some other thing. So, yeah, I've done a good job of busting myself up over the years. The point is, though, that as soon as I started strength training and doing core training every single day, yeah, I still screw myself up. Like I was just saying a few minutes ago, I got something going on with my hip. And in my last marathon, I pulled my charging horse, my right hamstring. So, but the point is, because I am stronger to the core routine work every day, as long as I'm very careful and conscious of what my body is telling me, nothing has really sidelined me for more than like a week in the past 3 years. So I highly recommend that you either steal my daily core routine in the video on the channel. Well, it takes like 15, 20 minutes a day. I always do mine as soon as I roll out of bed so that I don't give life an opportunity to give me an excuse not to get it done. And, you know, we're runners because we love running. But an extra 20 minutes of work every day can give you a more consistent experience running with more joy and less trouble. Why would you do it? All right, folks, we just hit 5.5 miles. I'm moving at 7.6 miles an hour still. I'm just going to bump it up now to 7.7. I gotta try to catch up if I'm drinking too. I'm trying to avoid another restroom break. That's probably not a good idea. I didn't want to bond around too much. What are we talking about? Stay steady. Today I'm wearing an Under Armour tank top. You'll see me wearing this one a lot at the track or on time trial days or race days because it's nice and thin, very breathable. The only reason I'm wearing it today and not running topless is because I'm trying to respect you, the viewer. While it is, I'm here at 19 degrees outside or something like that here at the moment, and that's Fahrenheit, not Celsius. Nice toasty, like 71 degrees here in my house. So I'm doing some pretty good sweating now. So I'm going to have to get back on and start getting that ounce in me every half mile, like I was talking about before. Hey, I can see the twins try. You guys are here, or were here at some point. How's it going, guys? I love your channel. I cannot see. My eyes are not good enough to see what you actually wrote. OMG, insane. Good pacing. Okay. Michael Sanderson says, subscribe, John. I don't know. Must be another conversation going on. At any rate, everybody who's already been here today, I love all your channels. John, you're awesome. I love how completely real you are. And I love when you talk about the importance of veganism. And this coming from somebody who still eats meat. You know, in my weekly training vlogs, I am now showing every detail of everything I eat every day. I'm putting everything into my MyFitnessPal, and then every day when I do my run summary, I flash that grid on the screen. And I think you can see that I'm kind of 85–90% vegetarian as it is. I'll usually get some tuna fish in me around lunchtime. It's so lean and so high in protein. And then dinner usually is chicken. We hardly ever use red meat. So in conversations I've had with other vegan or vegetarian runners, you know, I've told several people that it really wouldn't be that big of a sea change for me to go completely vegetarian. The reason I haven't so far, you know, let's talk frankly, it's laziness. You know, I haven't taken the time to sort of get on the same page with my wife and make sure that we're going to go for it together, you know, etc. But to get back to the point, John, you freaking rule, man. I love the way you talk about your diet, and not just the dietary, but the ethical importance of cutting down meat consumption or dumping it completely. Keep on rocking that aspect of the videos because I love it. It constantly reminds me of where I need to be. Michael Sanderson, you freaking rule, dude. You know, I was talking about lagging in motivation and inspiration sometimes. Dude, all I got to do is watch one of your videos. I love watching you run intervals like on a straightaway on the road or something, or some of those beautiful fields that you run through. Ellen, how's it going? I run daily, dude. I gotta tell you what, the Twins Tribe, let me mention you again. You guys rule. Twins Try, their channel is actually based on trying out different sort of novelty foods from around the world, from different countries around the world, and kind of giving you the thumbs up or the thumbs down. And it's awesome. When they say something's good, I keep an eye out for stuff on my grocery trips. And it's a whole lot of fun. Plus they're into running, so we have a little bit in common there. One thing I'd really like to say too is I've been on YouTube now. I'm not more than 3-4 weeks away from my 2-year anniversary on YouTube. And, you know, it's been slow growth, but I'm not on YouTube to try to become Seth DeMore overnight. You know, I'm here because I enjoy it, because I love the community. And so I got started like literally just before COVID hit. And there was kind of like a boom right around then, right around February, March of 2020, with new runners with YouTube channels. And all the people who've been around for longer sort of started commenting on the fact that the running community on YouTube was growing. And oddly enough, I've noticed in the last 3 or 4 months, I think there's a fresh wave of people. And I say the more the merrier. I say keep on rocking. The more people we've got in this community, the better off we all are. You know, The idea is, in my mind, this is not a zero-sum game. This is not a limited supply situation where there's a pie and I want a bigger slice, and that means I got to take it away from you. The way I see it is, the more people that jump in, the bigger the pie gets, and we can all thrive together. So if you're new, just starting with your channel, keep on rocking. Just like with running, consistency is the key. Keep pushing those videos out. People will take notice, and you'll grow. You know, the only advice that I can give if you're really, really new is do it the real way. You know, grow on the strength of your quality of content. Don't get into the one where you're buying subscribers. Don't do all this sort of flash in the pan kind of ways of pulling people into your content. You are worthy of subscribership just for being who you are and bringing your perspectives. Just keep at it. You know, it happens in fits and starts, and then there will be periods where it seems like nobody's paying you any attention. But that's that kind of ebb and flow. It's just the way it goes. We're almost at 6 3/4 miles now. When we get 7 miles up, I'll get up again. I don't have to apologize ahead of time, guys. I was hoping, with no good reason, that I just jump on here and go 18 miles and I'd be back. But like I said, I wasn't careful with my eating and drinking yesterday. And if I'm not very strict with the way I prepare for my long runs, it always ends up with pit stops, which is not as good for your adaptation if you're stopping all the time. But if you have to, you have to. As long as you keep it short, 5 minutes or less per break. I'm trying to keep them under a minute here. I've stopped so far. I'll stop. There's be too much dead air here on my channel. At any rate, to circle back around to what I was saying before, I'd love to know what you're doing. What are your A-goal races coming up? What do your training blocks look like? I think I was talking about how my weeks, my 7-day cycles progress. I think I got to Wednesday and got sidetracked. You'll probably see me meandering all over the place with what I'm talking about even more as the run progresses, as my mind starts to fade. But yeah, Wednesdays are my track days. Monday and Tuesdays are easy days. Usually Mondays are like 8 miles. Tuesdays are like 9 miles easy. Wednesday track workout, total of about 11 or 12 miles, with 5 or 6 of those miles being sort of on time, interval moving fast time. Like a 2.5, 3 mile warm up, 2.5 mile, 3 mile cool down. Followed on Thursday by another easy day, which usually, now that I'm reaching sort of peak mileage per week, means another 9 easy miles. Friday is my middle long run. We're at 7 miles now, folks. Let's pause this for a minute. Come back. Continue this. My apologies for having a break like this all the time. Be right back. All right, trying to do this as fast as I can. Let's go. That's 7 miles. All right, I just bumped it to 7.7 miles per hour. We'll stay here for like a mile and a half. Pick it up. All right. For those of you who have been following along for a while now, I'm sure you're sick of hearing me attempting to get through what my weekly schedule looks like. However, bear with me. Mondays, easy days, usually 8 miles. By easy days, that means I'm never running faster than 8-minute miles. So Mondays are usually probably right more around 9+ minutes per mile. Just trying to take it easy, get the blood flow back to those muscles so that I can build up faster. Tuesday, same idea. Easy day, 9 miles. Usually run faster if I got a good night's sleep Monday night. Wednesday, track workout, 12 miles, 5 or 6 miles of on time. Thursday is another easy day, 9 miles easy, slow, trying to promote healing. Friday is my middle long run. This past Friday, I just did 13 miles after I got home from work. It was nice and cool. It was like 37 degrees outside. And I'm happy to say that it felt effortless. Around 8:15 per mile on average. Had a couple of miles there in the middle where I was dipping down into the 7-minute mile range, but I was just trying to cover the mileage. The idea being right now that I'm still building my mileage. So beyond track day, I'm not pushing myself for speed yet on any other days. My middle long run day, Friday, will eventually top out at 15 miles every Friday. And then Saturday is an easy day again, where I'll go 8 or 9 miles, depending on how I feel and time availability. And then Sunday, to kind of recap this training block, the first week when I was still sick, I think I ran 8 miles as a long run. And I'm just trying to literally get back in the swing of it, fighting a virus at the same time. Week 2, I think my Sunday long run was around a half marathon, 13.1 miles. Last weekend, my intention was to run 16, but I only made it to 15 because it was freezing cold and it was just driving rain. And I had reached the point where I was so cold I couldn't feel my legs and my fingers just didn't exist. So I just kind of made my way home and called it at 15 miles. And this week, what you're looking at, this will be an 18 miler. And the reason I'm running it on the treadmill and not outside is because the endless North Carolina summer came to a screeching end at about 3 in the morning last night. And we are, as I speak, I will, maybe after I'm done running, I'll give you a view out the window behind me. It's putting the snow and the ice down. We've already got over 6 inches of snow out there. And weatherman says we could get up to a foot. So, earlier this week I was at the track wearing next to nothing. Today I'm forced onto the treadmill because we're buried in snow. Okay, we just reached, just passed 7.5 miles. Another half mile, I'll bump it up to 7.8 miles per hour. Got a break. So, 18 miles today for the long run on Sunday. My long runs are always Sunday. Next week I'll hit 20 miles and introduce. Well, not introduce, but I'll run it as a progression run and try to reach peak speed a little bit faster than this week. try to get it down into like, the high 6 minute per mile range, on like 6:48, something like that. At the end, if I can do it, if I'm well rested, etc. And I will definitely next Saturday and Friday be paying much closer attention to my diet to make sure I'm actually preparing for my long run the way I would start preparing for a race. So that I don't have to do bathroom breaks, etc. I'm embarrassing myself today, in my opinion, with all these stops. Whatever. Anyway, going forward, my long run next week will be 20 miles, doing some progression run, and then from that point on out, until I hit my taper in 6 or 7 weeks, all of my long runs will be 20 miles or more. I plan to go, starting next week, 20 miles next week, 22 the mile after. Week after that, probably another 22 the week after that, followed by a 24 when I'm either 4 or 5 weeks out from race day. Then I'll take it down a week, which will mean a 20 miler, and then probably 22 again. And then I'll be into a 2-week taper at that point, so I'll be looking at probably like 16 miles and 12 miles as I taper down to race day. I guess the other news I want to share with you guys, as far as what I'm doing different for this shorter training block compared to the 18-weeker that I did the last time, that I'm going to be lighter on race day. I went into the race at Kiawah Island weighing in 138.8, something like that. Anyway, 139 lower, 138 high. I don't want to weigh an ounce more than 135 flat for race day at Tobacco Road on March 20th. Don't be concerned. You guys on YouTube, you never see me standing next to anybody else really, so you don't know how big a guy I am. I'm only 5'7", so 135 pounds is by no means too skinny. I don't have any sort of body image issues that I know of. I just want to be light so I can be faster with less effort. And if I play my cards right, I continue eating healthy, high nutrient value foods, I should still be able to lose like a pound a week and leave my body well-fueled enough to not bring on an injury from not providing enough nutrients to my body as I build my mileage and the intensity. Last time I started my training block 18 weeks before the Kiawah Island race, I was carrying some pretty good weight. I weighed in at 152 pounds on day one of that training block, and I got myself down to 138 over 18 weeks. This time, I started this training block at 144. Yes, that means it took me 2 weeks to put on like 5.5 pounds. I'm pretty good at eating, folks. Once you take the reins off, watch out. I love the high-calorie garbage. I'm a sugar fiend. I've told people plenty of times that if I wasn't a distance runner, I'd be diabetic. No doubt about it. All right. We're almost at 8.5 miles now. Currently cruising 7.7 miles per hour. Still taking it pretty easy. We bump it up to 7.8. Once we hit 8.5. I'd like to travel at 8 miles per hour by the time we get to the halfway point. Every lap I'll bump it up another 10 miles per hour. Boy, do I have to catch up on my liquid consumption. But this back half is going to be painful. I'll tell you, everybody, usually I can't stand a long distance treadmill run. The big lesson I'm taking from today is talk to yourself. Have a one-person conversation with yourself. The time will fly. You've been at it for over an hour now, and you're doing good. My intention was to finish this run in about 2 hours and 15 minutes or so, maybe 2:20, somewhere in there. But with the bathroom rest stops along the way, it's going to stretch out a little longer than that before I can turn off the treadmill, call this done, and give you guys a look out the window at the snow. Calvin, my chocolate lab, is laying on the couch just behind and off to the side of where this camera is. The side view camera there, below the big painting that you can see behind me. I don't think you can quite make out Calvin. I think he's just below the lower part of the what the camera is picking up. He's my big chocolate lap puppy. He's 8 years old. Best dog ever. Freaking love that dog. He gets rambunctious sometimes. Give him a lap, he doesn't. But never met a dog before whose loves ever got so much. Getting so caught up in the wonderful sound of my own voice that I'm getting accused to bump up the speed. All right, 8.75 miles right there. And I'm bumping it up to 7.8 miles per hour. I hope I've got the music low enough at this point that it's not interfering with what I'm saying. Hey, Michael Bartlett joined us. Rock and roll. Looks like everybody's having a conversation amongst themselves. Hey, Michael. I don't know how long you've been here. Thanks for jumping in. So, can somebody give me a quick response, just like a capital letter, yes or no? If the sound is decent, if you can understand what I'm saying, or if it's just a garbled mess. Is it good? Yes or no? It may very well be that I'm talking to myself at this point. Whatever. I'm having fun and I appreciate everybody who stops in. Okay, good, thanks. Michael Sanderson. All right. All right, guys, I hope your run is going well. I know Michael and John are saying they're jumping on the treadmill, going for a run right now, too. Hopefully I'm decent company. Coming up on 9 miles. I'm going to bump this right up to 8 miles an hour. Just a second. All right, 9 miles. We just hit the halfway point, and we're cruising at 8 miles an hour, which is 7 minutes and 30 seconds per mile. Nice and comfortable. I don't want to push myself too hard today because I want to be able to really say something here and there to you guys. All right, we're halfway, so I'm going to pop a gel now. Try to get some sugar and caffeine in me and some electrolytes in me. So I haven't been keeping up with my drinking. I'm going to pay for that in the next 9 miles. I'll try to fast track it a little bit. Not the liquid, but at least get the sugar sponged up a little bit. So folks, for anybody who's out there who's thinking about doing this themselves on their channel, doing like a live stream while they run or whatever, I'm using StreamYard in order to be able to bring in these multiple views of the run. If you use just the tools that are built into YouTube itself, you can only do like a single view. But StreamYard gives you multiple views, multiple layouts, multiple guests can join. And the cool thing is that because StreamYard is browser-based, you can run it without having a particularly powerful laptop or phone or tablet. I'm bringing this to you. This view right here in front that I'm pointing at right now is coming from a Chromebook, a very old Chromebook that is anything but powerful. And so far, we're like an hour and 15 minutes almost into this run. It seems to be handling it just fine. This side view over here is coming from my phone, which is routed into StreamYard as a guest. And that's all there is to it. All right. Thanks, Michael. Doing brilliantly. Start trying to chug this liquid a little bit more. The temperature in the house, I'm starting to feel it. Guys, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to turn on the fan on the treadmill itself, the little fans that are right here. Just try to cool down a little bit more. Let me know if it starts making the audio really, really shitty. Whoops. Let that one slip. Is this video for children? Well, not anymore. Hey, look at it this way. It took me over an hour before I made a silly mistake like that. All right, here comes the fan. Please feedback very quickly if this suddenly sounds like garbage. We're not just past 9.5 miles in now. cruising at 8 miles an hour, 730 miles. So guys, I've said several times on my channel that my plan is eventually to run ultras. The only reason I haven't so far is because I still feel like I can squeeze some more speed out of this old body and maybe still hit some PRs when it comes to 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, and full marathons on the road. But I'm very interested in moving up to the 50K, 50 mile. And before I die, I want to run at least one 100 miler. There is a local race here that offers ultra trail marathons in late June, just not 50 miles from my house. And they've got a 50K option and a 50-mile option. But it happens in the dead of North Carolina summer heat and humidity. Is it a good idea for me to go after something like that? Or should I give myself a fighting chance and wait for fall or winter before I take on my first ultra? And what changes as far as training? Not just the difference between road training and trail training, but from season to season, when you're training for an ultra, do you back off a lot more from speed training when it comes to summer ultras? Or you just do a lot of compensation training, like a lot more heat training, etc. What kind of ratios are we looking at? I'm very, very curious. Coming up on 10 miles real quick now. I can go on the floor. All right, there's 10 miles, folks. 8 more to go. So we're looking at maintaining this speed. I'll be under running for another hour. I'm planning to bump it up a little bit more. Not just yet, but we'll get there. First, I want to feel my body out. I'm not even halfway through this first thing of liquid. Normally at 10 miles, I would have just emptied this and made it to the second one. So I'm deprived of liquid. I've got a feeling I'm going to pay for it. So I don't want to poke the speed too high. At least not yet. I don't mind suffering. Kind of enjoy suffering a little bit. Masochistic side of me, but I don't think I want to suffer for a full hour today. So I'm not going to start bumping it too fast, at least until mile 12. So if you have a bit of a sadistic side, and you're out there just kind of watching, stay tuned. The fun is just ahead. All right. What are we going to talk about? I'm going to try hanging on to the handles and leaning into the chat. If there's anybody out there right now, and you got questions for me, get on there now. And I'll talk about whatever you want me to talk about, within reason. If keep in mind, just because I said the S word once a few minutes back, doesn't mean that I don't want to keep this fairly family-oriented. If there's anything my YouTube channel is famous for, it's the fact that the family gathers around the hearth and watches me run for good, wholesome, all-American entertainment. At this point, I can't tell if I'm funny or loopy or both. Sounds still good even with the fan, good stuff. All right, so back to what I'm wearing today. I've got my Under Armour singlet. I'm wearing my Bayleaf half tights, which I freaking love. For some reason, I keep putting off the video review. But if you need some half tights that do a fairly good job of maintaining your male modesty, these things are pretty great. And then on my feet, I'm wearing SLS3 socks with my Saucony Endorphin Pros, my first pair, which are now consigned to training shoes because I got a great deal on some additional pairs when they went on super sale there when everybody was overstocked in them. I got 2 more pairs in the closet. One pair I've only worn once, and it was at the Kiowa Island Marathon, so they've got a ton of life left in them, but I'm saving them for racing. And then I've got a third pair of Saucony Endorphin Pros, the first version. That's just sitting in a box. They'll probably get used for the first time coming up this fall, when those become my race shoes, and my second pair become my training shoes. But the pair that I'm wearing today, which were my first pair, which I paid full price for when they're like a brand new shoe, they've probably got like 125, maybe 150 miles on them now, and they're still freaking awesome. I know when a lot of these first generation super shoes started coming out, everybody was really concerned that they were built for speed, but not built to last, that the cushioning would pancake out really quick, and that the others were so thin, they'd rip and tear really quick. But I gotta tell you, these Saucony Endorphin Pros, the midsoles on these things, still awesome. The reason I'm going to wear them consistently on my long runs throughout the training cycle is because, number one, I plan to race in them. So it's nice to be familiar to train in what you're going to race in. And secondly, especially as a more mature runner like I am, I'm 52 years old for anybody who doesn't know, the recovery after a long run is hugely improved by running in these shoes. I assume that's true of all carbon-plated shoes. I've talked to other very mature runners who are much older than me, who also do their long run training in carbon shoes, whether that be the Vaporfly or the Next Percent, et cetera, et cetera. And we all seem to find exactly the same thing, that the amount of wear and tear on your body is markedly, noticeably less when you do that long run in a carbon shoe. You head back out, the the next day for your easy run. And if you've done long runs in regular shoes for years, you know how rough you can feel when you come back the next day. And mind you, my muscles in my legs on Mondays, of course they're tired. Of course they're a little bit sore. But, you know, the joints and stuff are just, it feels so much better. Like, really, really noticeably better. My plan now is I want to pick up a pair of the Treadmill, the Artist, which is another carbon-plated shoe, which retails for like $100 here in the States. And you just 11 miles, folks. I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit next mile. And I've seen people like Andy Rayner from DevRunner talk about how they use that as a training shoe as well. And then it's really, that's a really good shoe. I think the uppers on a training shoes are a little bit, that's probably what's lacking more than anything else when it comes to that brand at this stage. But he's put his artists through, I think, 250 miles or more. And he said they're still good shoes. So that's all I need to hear. Because I'd love to have a backup pair of carbon shoes for training. So we're up to 11.25 miles right now. Starting to get into the zone where you start to notice that you're running now. I usually don't start to feel like a run is an effort until about 1 mile 13 or 14. So I'm moving at a decent clip, you know, just like even an average clip when I'm outside. But when you're on the treadmill, there are fewer distractions, and you kind of notice your body a little bit more. And last week, as I said, I think my mileage topped out at 64 miles. And if I go the full 18 today, I'll hit 74 miles. So a significant jump of 10 miles this week, 10 more than last week. And so I expect to feel a little bit tired after this one, or during the latter stages of this run. And that's without pushing the pace too hard. For those of you who don't know, I'm training towards the Tobacco Road Marathon in Cary, North Carolina. That race will take place on March 20th, 2022. This training block is a short one, only 12 weeks long. This run is the end of week number 4. So I don't have a lot of time to try to get in equal or better shape than I was going to the Kiowa in December. Plus, I only get a 2-week taper this time. However, in order to hit my goal of 2 hours and 45 minutes in that race, that means I have to run an even pace of 6 minutes and 20 seconds per mile over 26.2 miles. And Hopefully I don't have to play little games like I did at Kiowa, testing cases and stuff like that because of weather that is not ideal. Hopefully I go into the tobacco marathon, and if I get an ideal day, that would mean we're looking at cloud cover. That would mean we're looking at even a slight drizzle would be fine by me, at least misty, or bone dry. But 45 degrees, low to mid 40s Fahrenheit would be just a peachy day as far as I'm concerned. If it's 42 degrees or warmer on that day, I will be dressed exactly the same way as I am right now. Tank top, half tights. I don't mind that chill when you're standing waiting behind the start line. Because by mile one is in the books, you're already warmed up. You already got a little slight sheen from sweating. But you're not getting hot. You don't feel your core just kind of boiling up. Hopefully a little wind that day. The course itself, I think, has a total of 250 feet of vertical over the entire 26.2 miles. I've run the race before. I ran it in March of 2015. It was my second marathon of all time. So I know the course. The first 2 miles of the course are run on roads. And then you take a sharp right turn and you get on like a rail trail, which basically is just like a crushed gravel trail. You go out to mile 8.5. There's a turnaround. Come all the way back. All the way past where you entered. And at mile 18.5, there's another turnaround. And you follow the same trail all the way back until you hit mile 24. And it's a 2-mile shot back to the start line, which now serves as the finish line. And you're done. The first like 14 miles of the run, at Tobacco Road, a flat. But then from miles 14 to 18.5, there's like a 2% uphill grade, which is not terrible, but it's enough. At that point in marathon, miles 14, that's when you start to feel it. That's when you start to feel like you got to do a little work. So that 2% grade, I remember the last time I ran it, I'm like, oh man, I didn't need this right now. But the good news is, once you get all the way up to the 18.5 mile mark where the turnaround is, then you get that 2% down until mile 24. But the first 2 miles of the run when you're on the roads, and thus the last 2 miles of that race, are rolling hills. So they test you before it's all over. When I ran it as my second marathon in March of 2015, I ran it in 3 hours and 16 minutes. It was my first BQ of my life, the second marathon, my second BQ. My very first marathon of my life was at the Charleston Marathon in January of 2015. I ran a 3:26. When I ran that race, I didn't know what BQ was. Didn't know anything about the Boston Marathon. Nothing. I was just here running, just having fun. So I ran 3:26. Only after I crossed the finish line did somebody tell me, "Hey, you missed a Boston qualifier by a minute." I was like, "What the hell is that?" So got the whole story, got the skinny on that. And I was like, oh, okay. This PQ thing is important. If I'm going to be a real runner, I better go PQ. So that's why I signed myself up 3 months later for my first time at the Tobacco Road Marathon. And I came in with a, as I said, 3:16, which qualified me for Boston with 8.5 minutes to spare. Now here's an interesting story. I've run 10 marathons, completed 9 of them. I DNF'd my second time at Myrtle Beach Marathon. It's terrible conditions. And I just called it at mile 12 that day. At any rate, I've run 10 marathons, finished 9 of them, and I qualified for Boston 8 out of those 9 times that I actually completed the marathon. First marathon was the only time I didn't. So I'd like to keep that little streak going for as long as I can. See how old I can get before I can't do it anymore. My intention is to keep running the rest of my life, barring injury or other health issues that may arise. We're coming up very quickly on 12.5 miles. Anything in the comments? Okay, 12.5 miles right now. I'm bumping it up to 8.1 miles per hour. Five and a half miles to go, folks. This is just going to be a bit of a cruiser today. I don't think I'm going to push myself too hard. I don't think we'll get into the 6 mile per hour range, or 6 minute and change mile per hour. I don't even know what I'm trying to say anymore. Hopefully you get it. I will not break into this 6 minute per mile range today. Unless I just sprint in the last quarter mile or something like that. I probably won't get any faster than 8.5 miles per hour today. Didn't run the last mile. I had like 7.04 pace. We'll see. I just want to keep finding things to talk about to keep myself distracted. Not long to go. If I was outside 5.5 miles, I'd feel like nothing. Staring at a wall, talking to myself. It's a little bit of a different story. At any rate, this is kind of a novelty for me. Let's see what does John say. Let me try to read this. All right, I'm back. Finish my run. And now with a smoothie and banana. Great job, Paul. Looking strong. Thank you, sir. I don't know if you were around when I was talking about you earlier, but in a nutshell, I love the way you advocate for veganism. You keep me inspired to keep moving more and more in that direction. As I said earlier, I'm probably about 85 to 90% of my diet is vegetarian anyway. Occasionally fish and chicken are still an important part of my diet, but I'm all about the benefits to the world of trying to make this a little bit less cruel planet to our animal brethren. So thank you, John. That's all I'll say on that. Keep on keeping on with what you do and your messaging. Kind coming up on 13 miles quick now. I gotta still catch up on my liquid intake. Oh, boy. Guys, what do you want me to yap about? I've just been meandering around, following my random thoughts. But John, you just deserve it. Love your channel. Think you're doing good things. Do me a solid here. Give me something to talk about. I've exhausted my brainless yammering for now. What do you guys want to know about me? What do you want to know about my training? What do you want to know for your own training sake? What can I answer? Trying to maintain good form here. All right, we're about an hour and 42 minutes or so into this run. Probably a little over half an hour left. Depending on how much I pick it up and when I pick it up. Like I said, I'm just building my mileage here at the end of week 4. So I don't want to push the speed too hard. I don't want to find out that I'm on the verge of an injury. Been pushing myself too hard. The speed will come gradually. Both on my Wednesday workouts at the track, I'll start introducing more speed on my Friday middle long runs. And on my long runs every Sunday, when I do run them as a progression, I will incrementally start them at a higher speed and progress faster and faster as the weeks go by until hopefully 5-6 weeks from now, I'm running a 22 mile compression run for my long run. That ends at 6 minutes and 20 seconds per mile for the last couple miles. That assumes I keep moving in the right direction with my weight loss and I keep the nutrition high and I quit screwing around with not doing as much weights workouts as I should. You know, I'm hanging on to the fact that at least I'm very consistent with my core routines every morning. You know, guys, I don't know how much I should sort of talk about the same subject matter again as the run goes on because I don't know how many people are sticking around for this whole thing. I don't know if anybody's masochistic enough to have done that, but I don't want to repeat myself too much more than I usually do anyway. If there's anything you want to know. Paul, your younger days, says Michael Sanderson. Oh, my shoe rotation. Yeah, cool. I was talking earlier about my long run training shoe being the Saucony Endorphin Pro version 1, because as an older guy, first of all, it's important to me because that's the shoe I'm going to race in. And second of all, as an older guy, the carbon plated shoes make recovery a lot easier. When I come back on Mondays for my easy run, there is far less strain, there is far less pain when I do my long runs in a carbon shoe, so I'm sticking with that. My easy run shoes, for the last training block and for this one, I'm using the Clifton, the Hoka Clifton 7. It's a great shoe. You know, Hoka's been taking a lot of flack in the last year from all the big shoe review guys because they're still using, for the most part, their old EVA, and they're not sort of innovating and doing all the new stuff that you see in a lot of the other shoe brands from Nike to Saucony and Skechers and Puma, you know, like with the supercritical foams and stuff. However, on an easy day, like my Mondays, my Tuesdays, my Thursdays, my Saturdays, I appreciate that nice squishy swish that you get with the Hoka Clifton. So that is my easy day shoe of choice. On Wednesdays when I go to the track and I've got to move super freaking fast, that's when the Saucony Endorphin Speed version 1 comes out of the closet. That shoe, when it first came out, got super hyped by everybody. All the big guys on YouTube sung its praises. And I gotta tell you what, if you've never experienced that shoe, holy cow, it deserves every accolade that's ever gotten. I've gone through 2 pairs. My first pair is now coming up on 500 miles of use. Yeah, that's correct. And the damn thing is still springy. The second pair I used heavily in my last training block, and it still has plenty of life in it for this shorter training block. I promise you, I'm a small YouTube channel. I'm not getting kickbacks from anybody here. I've got no reason to hype anything if it's not truly worthy. And the Saucony Endorphin Speed is a monster of a shoe. If you need to move fast, it's not just because it's a light shoe, but that Kiko foam is so bouncy. The same foam that's in the Endorphin Pro, but the Speed, instead of having a carbon plate, has a nylon plate. Nylon plate meaning it's a plastic plate. They just use the word nylon to make it sound fancier. But it gives you, when you're toeing off, it gives you just enough spring. And the foam itself, when you land on your balls of your feet, when you land mid-foot, it's just, you can't help but to run fast. You can go out on a day when you're not feeling all that hot, when you're not fully recovered. And after your first warm-up mile, you'll look at your watch and you're going, holy crap, I'm flying. The shoe is just something else. So anyway, Saucony sent me a check. Love that shoe. Absolutely love that shoe. My favorite shoe of all time is the Endorphin Pro, but you don't get to wear it enough to kind of, the more I thought about it, for it to really be my favorite shoe. The Saucony Endorphin Speed is like one of those shoes you can wear it as a daily trainer if you want to. And it just rocks. I haven't tried any of the Endorphin version 2 shoes yet because they're still full price, and I'm not in a place financially where I want to just drop $160 for a single pair of daily trainers. But once Generation 2 goes on sale, I'm going to be all over them. And I'll do my shoe reviews on those, a year after it's relevant. But you know how that goes. My channel isn't known for reviews. I'm just kind of an old guy who likes to pass on what he learns as he pushes himself hard in the shit. All right, folks, we just passed 14 1/4 miles I'm going to bump this up to 8.2 miles an hour. There we go. The end is coming into view. Beyond that, just to sum up shoe rotation ideas. So hope uplifting for easy days. Softening endorphin speed for peppy days. Softening endorphin pro for my long run. And then a really old shoe that came out like 4 years ago that I hoarded them when they went on sale. When all the shoe sales online were going on. It's a Saucony ISO Zealot 3. You can't get them anymore. But I bought like 6 pairs of them years ago. And I finally just broke out my final pair out of the box a few days ago. And I use that for days when I want to go easy, but the possibility is there that I might want to pick it up a little bit. It's the old-fashioned foams. It's super squishy. And there's plenty of padding. So you can kind of go anywhere you want to with that shoe. It used to be my favorite shoe until all these new foams started coming out. On speedy days, I also like the Adidas SL20. But that's kind of I would never go more than 10 miles in that shoe. It's kind of a stiff ride. It also has a plastic plate. And there's not a lot of forgiveness in that shoe. So if one has 10 miles, you'll probably be feeling it. Same thing is true of like the Saucony Kinvara. Great super light shoe with traditional foam in it. But you take that shoe, at least me and my old bones, if I take that shoe past 10 miles, I'll be feeling it. Love Skechers. Skechers Razor 3 was one of my favorite fast shoes. That foam that they use, it feels just like packing peanuts. But man, does that stuff bounce. And other shoe companies that used to laugh at Skechers, I've stolen it from them. The new foam that's in all the Puma shoes this year, it's the same stuff. All the high-end Brooks shoes are using the same stuff. Running on that stuff is like being on springs. But I don't think it lasts as long as the cheaper foam from Saucony. The shoes will go dead faster. I still have another pair of Razor 3s in the box that I haven't broken out yet. But my first pair, I got about 300 miles out of those. And I was done with them. It was kind of like, man, when they were fresh and bouncy, they kicked butt. But once they went flat always. And that's another shoe that I wouldn't go over 10 miles in. It's more of a speed shoe, shorter race shoe. All right, we're coming up on 15 miles in about another minute or so. I'll tell you when we're at the 5K mark, which is to say 5K left to go. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but Van Halen's Panama's coming out. So sad about Eddie. Van Halen is a true rarity, truly unique. Amazing guitar player. I'm a guitar player myself, have been since I was 17 years old. So He was a hero. Now I want you to get all emotional. Hold the line to go. It's not long to go. Miles. Yep. For the 50-mile mark. 3 to go. Sorry. We're right past the 5K mark. All right. Obviously, I'm not going to shell up again. I'm just going to ride this out. How are we doing here in the comments? Anything new? Ed Gar? Sorry, I can't see very well. I'm just kind of bouncing along here, squinting with my old man eyes, trying to see what these chats say. Sorry, guys. Hopefully my suffering is providing some kind of entertainment to everybody out there. Starting to feel it a little bit in my right hamstring. Nothing that feels like it's going to pop, but there's definitely a twinge of discomfort there, very mild discomfort. For those of you who don't know, I popped my right hamstring during the Keogh Island Marathon on December 11th. It was a super hot, super humid day. And my fueling plant, I screwed it up in the later miles. I was trying to weave through some slower runners who were running a half marathon, and there was a portion of the course that we shared. And the last 8 miles of that race, I was trying to play dodge with all the slowest half marathoners, trying to weave through them. And it was so distracting that I missed some fueling marks. And in that kind of heat and humidity, that's all it took to get electrolyte depleted and overly dehydrated. And I paid the price at mile 24 of that race. My right hamstring balled up like a stone. It took me about a quarter mile of walking and massaging it to get to where I could run slowly again. And then at mile 26, with the finish line off in the distance, I could see it. The muscle seized into a ball one more time. It was like a rock. And there was no getting out of it this time. I just kind of dragged myself across the finish line. And if it was ideal conditions that day, I was trying to run a 2 hour and 45-minute marathon. I ended up crossing the finish line in 2 hours and 58 minutes. And my current training cycle, which I encourage you all, please, this is my first time pleading for your subscriptions to my channel. Please like this live stream if you haven't already, and I appreciate all the comments. All right, we just hit 15.5 miles, 2.5 to go. At any rate, if you want to see what my week-to-week training looks like as I push towards my next 2 hour and 45-minute marathon attempt, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel and check out the series that is called 245 Marathon Revenge. And I will give you every last embarrassing detail of my training, right down to every single thing that I eat every day. What my cross training looks like, what my weight training looks like, what every single run looks like, the paces, everything. I'm hoping you all will keep me accountable. Because at my age, I'm 52 years old, 245 is not going to come easy. right, I'm gonna pick up the pace a little bit. We're gonna go from 8.2 miles an hour to 3. There it is. Forgive me if I have these breaks of silence in here, folks. Because I'm really new here. Guys, if there's anything you want me to talk about, feel free. Just try to keep the message short so I can try to read it really quickly. All right, we're at 15.75 miles now. 2.25 to go. All right, let me make sure I'm doing this right. Let me take some time to do some math. I ran 1.5 miles at the beginning of all this fun and took a bathroom break. And while I was gone, the treadmill reset itself. So whatever is showing here on my heads-up display, I have to add 1.5 miles to it. So, yeah. So I got a little over 2 miles to go. All right. Probably maintain somewhat decent form here. I'd love to know, anybody who's watching this, anybody who was kind enough to take an interest in this live stream, what can I do to make the next one better? Are there any additional views you'd like? I know I definitely have to work on getting the screen in a place where I can see your chat more easily. Maybe I can get a third camera on this so you can see my foot strike a little more clearly. Whatever details you guys find of value, I'll do my best to accommodate it. And boom, there's 16 miles. 2 to go. I'm going to bump the speed up again. We're currently at 8.3 miles per hour. I'm going to bump it to 8.4. That's somewhere around 7:10, 7:11 pace, I think. Something like that. Oh, crap. It just went to 8.5. Let's just leave it there. I'm pretty sure that's like 7:04 per mile. I can do that for 4 miles. I'm super pleased that my cheesy little Chromebook here was good enough to get through this entire stream. And then over here on my right side, I've got my phone hooked up as the second camera. And I've got it hooked up to a power bank so that it didn't die midway through this run. So I'm quite happy with what I did manage to kind of pull together. Thanks to StreamYard for being so easy to use. Coming in on Alaska, folks. Currently moving at 8.5 miles per hour. Again, that's like 7:04 pace. I'm waiting for 7:05. We are right now just hit 16.25 miles in. Hopefully we're about 12, 13 minutes from this being over. And I'll stick with you as I cool down. And as a bonus for everybody who sticks around with me, we can have a little bit of a chat before we go. And I'll give you a view out the window of the North Carolina weather, which was, up until yesterday, summer. Summer, through fall, it was still summer. 3 winter, the first half of winter, it was still summer. And then last night, the weather dropped like a stone. It's like 20 degrees Fahrenheit out there right now. And the snow and the ice started falling from the sky at about 3 a.m. So I had to forego an outdoor long run, and thus the idea for this treadmill live stream was born. Anyway, I'll give you a view of all the magic winter wonderland that's going on out there. I'll give you a view out my front window to the front yard in the street. My backyard. Before I started this live stream, I was out there shoveling a walkway, not just for Calvin, my big old chocolate lab dog, but we also have a little Boston Terrier Chihuahua mix. A little baby girl named Lulu. She looks like a little baby girl, but she's 13 years old. So I had to shovel a walkway, get down to grass, so that she could go out and take care of business. All right, we're just past 16.5 miles now. We're down to the last about 11 minutes to go before we can have a real chat. And again, I'll show you the winter, the North Carolina winter that's happening outside the door. Thanks so much for sticking around, everybody. I truly appreciate all of your channels, all of you who are also YouTube hosts, and for all of you who are just following along for the sheer masochism of it. Thank you. I should say masochism on my part. Perhaps the masochism on your part, listening to some crazy old man yammer on about whatever pops into his head. Or perhaps the sadism, depending on your outlook. All right. 16.75 miles down. Mile and a quarter to go. I tell you, considering I'm not sitting here with headphones on, watching Netflix or YouTube that run, this went by. I've been out for almost 2 hours and 10 minutes now. I'm just kind of talking to everybody. It's been kind of fun. I don't know how often I'll do this. I think it depends on what kind of view analytics I see around this one. But it was far more pleasant than I thought it would be. All right. What are you all training towards? Again, I want to know. I love knowing what's going on out there in the running community. If there's anything I can do to help you along on your journey, I'd love to do it. Again, I am a certified RRCA running coach. So most of what I say is real, not just bull. You know, I like to stick with the science-based facts. When it comes to running, I don't want to lead anybody astray, cause anybody to hurt themselves, or not maximize their potential. We're at 17 miles, folks. One more to go, and we're cruising at 8.5 miles per hour. Let's do this in style, and drop down into the 6-minute range. We'll finish this first mile at 6:58 pace. And there it is. All right, currently running 6:58 pace. Let's get her done. Anybody out there? Is there anybody out there? I'm not yet comfortably numb, but I would like to be. Yes, I'm a classic rock baby. According to Pink Floyd, comes easy. Again, I'd love to know what your motivational music is when you got to push it, whether it's for a long run or a fast run, or when you're working out, your weights, what charges you up. I need to expand my library of energy music. 3/4 of a mile to go, folks. I'm at 17.25. 5.5 miles from home this time. 5.5 minutes. Did I say that? I don't know anymore. Thank you for that. Thank you. It's nice to know there's somebody else out there who's like-minded. All right, I don't know if you can hear that, but got some stones going. Very low volume. Sympathy for the devil. In my case, sympathy for the DeVillo. Now, last year being DeVillo, that's a good timing on this song. Have some sympathy. Let's get this over with. Less than a kilometer to go now, folks. Just try to relax and enjoy it instead of getting all anxious to finish. Just run it out and enjoy the process. Same thing you got to tell yourself when you're in the last stages of a marathon or a half marathon. Anything you consider a long one. Don't get all anxious at the end. Concentrate on the mile you're in and run it the best you can. Don't let the pain rule you. You just push. Do what you train for. Always reach into your cookie jar. Think of all those hard workouts you put in, all those weeks and months of pushing yourself so that you can perform well on next day. And refuse to say die. And push it. Not hitting your goal is nothing to be ashamed of. All that matters is that you gave everything you had. You can come up short. That could be for so many different reasons. Diet, nutrition, the amount of sleep you get out, the weather, the other stresses in your life. There's no shame. As long as you leave it out there, as long as you spend the energy that you've been given, then you can be proud of any number that's flashing at the finish line. There's no such thing as failing unless you give up. If you're willing to get back out there and try again, all you're doing is getting stronger. Man, am I waxing poetic. Quarter mile to go, people. Let's push it. 8.7 miles per hour. Here we are. This is sub 3-hour marathon pace right here. 6:52s. That's what you need. if you're aiming for 2:59:59 marathon. I think we can handle that for a quarter mile. The heads-up display on my treadmill shows like a quarter-mile track. And you just see the blue line growing as you progress through each lap. This is where you just sit there and pray to get moving faster. All right, 12.5% of a mile to go. Then I can address anything that's in that chat, read through it, and catch up on what all you fun people have been saying. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this 18 miles. This was way more fun than I thought it would be. I tried to keep talking through the whole thing. It's boring enough even with somebody talking. I didn't want to make it more boring by just staring straight ahead and mashing through it. All right, here we go. About to cross the line. Here we go. And we're done. Slow this down. Thank you, everybody. 18 miles done and dusted. All right. Let me turn this music off. Get them going. All right, stick with me. I will be looking directly into the camera in just a moment. There we go. All right, rock and roll. 18 miles done. Hey, boom. Thank you, John. I run things. Susie, rock on. Thank you for being here. I didn't see you there. I got too caught up in the sheer joy of running on a treadmill for 18 miles. For those of you who don't know Susie, she is the host of the I Run Things channel on YouTube. If you want to see an example of a first-rate running channel, that's where you need to be. She inspires me constantly. And I'm proud to call her a partner in our Masters of YouTube group live stream that we do once a month. It's always the first Thursday of every month. Me and Susie and Heather from Running Geek Girl and Brian from Rosser Runs, we get together and we talk about any old running-related silliness that crosses our mind for about an hour every month, and it's always so much fun. And Susie, I know that you didn't make the last one because you had some pressing business to take care of, but I'm sure you caught up with what Brian and Heather and I did the last time, and we muddled through without you. We tried anyway, but I'm looking forward to the next one. The next one, in fact, will be in early February. I don't know the exact date, but we'll be getting together on my channel this time, and I'm looking forward to it. Thanks again, Susie, for being who you are. John, what did you say here? I ran along with you for the first 45 minutes, but that was enough for me today. Congrats on the 18. Thank you, sir. Yeah, it's always a nice feeling when the long run for the week is over. Let me turn off this fan so it's not just kind of making more noise than it needs to. All right, folks, without any further ado, let me disconnect the power to this Chromebook, and I want to give you a look at what North Carolina weather currently looks like. We've got about 9 inches to a foot of snow out there, and the sun's getting ready to go down, so this is the last good chance for it. Let's see. Let me turn this off before I break an ankle trying to jump off. Here we go. All right. Prepare yourself for the shock of the century. Let me pull this up so you get an unobstructed view. All right, folks, here is yesterday. Keep in mind that yesterday, North Carolina was sunny and hot. Now it's not. There's literally about 9 inches of snow out there, and it's still falling. quite a change of pace. Anyway, folks, I hope you managed to have a little bit of fun watching me suffer. I appreciate your time. And if you're catching this, on the rerun, thank you for watching, and drop a comment below. I would love to answer any questions you may have along the way. You've teleported to Nova Scotia, no doubt, right? I think a little bit of your weather blew down this way finally. Guys, thank you. I appreciate you keeping me encouraged through that run. Went by pretty quick. Please like, comment, subscribe. And thank you, guys. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to go catch a shower and prepare for dinner. Thanks so much. Have a great night. I'm going to sign off. And as always, get healthy, stay strong, and keep pushing. Peace out.